Now, I might be a little late to this news fest, but this is actually one thing that I actually wouldn't mind being late to this news fest too, actually. A Marvel movie that I actually saw recently. And that movie in mind is Madam Web. Yes, the newest Marvel movie that has ever come out recently. I want to say it came out a week around like my birthday or something like that, week before. I somewhere around that time frame. I don't even remember, but let's just put this in the shortest terms possible because that's what good Marvel movies like to do. And it wasn't good. It just wasn't good. I really did not enjoy the movie whatsoever. Like there was never. I feel like to the very least, there was like probably one scene that I enjoyed, and that was it. That was probably it. Let's just start from the beginning, And I'm sorry for giving a little spoiler to it, but like if I were you, it would be best for me to give a spoiler to it because it's more like I watched this movie so you don't have to basically. But if you're a fan of Marvel movies, I'm not going to judge you guys. So it starts off with this movie. The movie starts off with this female photographer. She gets very interested into spiders, knowing the presence, knowing like the secrets that spiders have, within their blood or whatever, something very interesting that never gets referenced in the movie later on. And then the villain comes into the movie a few seconds after, which, by the way, I hate the villain. Probably one of the worst villains that I've ever encountered. It's basically a discount Spider-Man type guy that basically can climb through walls and not through walls, but climb on walls, and that's pretty much it. Nothing really. He doesn't seem too threatening of a character, which is kind of funny because usually villains would want to be overpowering to the protagonist, but didn't really look like it. I'm actually gonna go on a little side tangent about the villain. I will get back into the main plot for a second, but I want to go a little side tangent about it. First of all, yeah, I do not like the acting of the villain at all whatsoever. He has like this weird accent type thing that I do not like. It's like if Tommy Wiseau from The Room was in a cast role of the Marvel movie. Like it just did not fill in really well with what he is and stuff like that. And like another thing I wanted to say too as well was that there was certain scenes where that I really didn't like about him. Where I think there was one time where he was having a flashback with three teenage girls that were going to kill him in the movie, and then he comes up with this epiphany. Is like, oh no, I need to kill these girls before they kill me because I have this evil spider. This spider that can like basically I need to use to not mess up my plan or whatever, which the movie does not do a good job on describing what the plan is, because usually typically when you're watching like a Marvel movie or something like that, they would describe like this evil plan that the villain's going to set up that's going to destroy the whole world, but like they never they never give any like certain intel for it. They just give the good guys trying to kill the bad guy for like no reason. But anyway, so yeah, we go back to the flashback scene where this guy has. Hold on, my phone is blowing up. So yeah, we go to this flashback scene where the villain starts having flashback of these three teenage girls that are in their superhero costumes. By the way, they're superhero costumes trying to defeat this guy with actual superpowers. Because in the movie, what the movie is trying to reference is that it's just normal teenage girls. But from the flashback scenes, these teenage girls actually have superhero powers, kind of like the mutants, where it's like teenagers having these superhero powers, the same way around. And not even once in the movie do we see these teenage girls actually be in their suits having these badass powers. Not even once does that happen, because I feel like that was the whole point of the movie, was to actually see these three teenage girls that we know absolutely nothing about, no background history, probably the littlest of background history that we have for these girls, never reference once that they actually ever had these super suits. The only time they actually do that is during the ending and during the middle scene, which kind of bummed me out a little bit. And I felt like this movie's sequeling so hard to actually have a second Madam Web, by the way, for this. That's why I guess maybe that's like the thing that they were doing. Is like, oh, we're gonna be showing these in the first movie and probably make it up a second movie where they actually do have the super suits. But the thing is, this movie has flopped so badly that they might not even make a second one. Like that's the funny thing, because like within like how badly this plot has been like designed, like the screenwriters didn't even really care. Like even the Dakota Johnson, I think that's her name, the actor, said that this wasn't going to be a good movie anyway. There was literally so many videos of her like having interviews like I don't know how this movie would be, you know. I'm just like, wow, it's just like this already was a dumpster fire already to begin with. So yeah, that was my side tangent of the villain, by the way. But so yeah, it starts off with that, and you know the villain obviously becomes villainy esque, and notices that the spider that the female photographer was taking pictures of has like abilities or whatever, kind of like how Spider-Man has abilities when he got bit by the spider. So then you know he gets his like villainy action going here and starts killing off two guys, and then eventually starts shooting the female photographer and starts running away with the spider to carry out his evil plan that we have absolutely no detail about. And these like cavemen looking esque monkey spider people save this woman while Mario jumping on some trees. And you know, first of all, the first 5 minutes was probably the most randomest type scenes whatsoever, because like the spider the spider caveman monkey people, literally no backstory whatsoever, just come out of nowhere just trying to save this woman out of, it's just, oh my god, I it's actually kind of like, you know, they're literally trying to like make things less sense in Marvel right now. It's like they could just do whatever they want, and the audience assumes that it's going to be canon or make sense in the movie. So it's just like, what are the screenwriters doing? Why did they think this was a good idea? You know, man, I literally have a whole list here of what I want to talk about. Another thing I wanted to talk about was there was this one particular scene in the movie where, you know, the villain, he figures out about I think he figures about the person behind this, the Madam Web, the protagonist of it all, going through the future and seeing these like timelines or whatever. And there was like this random side character that was just thrown in out of nowhere, literally trying to help the villain, like trying to help track down the teenage girls and the Madam Web, because you know since they were being kidnapped or whatever by the Madam Web. And which, by the way, it's funny that like in the movie she's a paramedic trying to save lives, you know, trying to prevent people from passing away, and then she becomes this babysitter, basically say insinuating that like, oh, I don't need to care for these teenagers, you know, these are not my responsibility, you know, yeah, even though they're currently like connected with me in my past, or somehow connected with me like in, because I could see them with my superpowers and stuff like that. I don't really need to care about them. It's just like it's like this weird side of like, you know, of character arc that I've never really wanted. That's not really like necessary within it. It just doesn't make sense for the movie. I feel like it's a weird thing to like even think about. Yeah. Anyway, all in all, I really don't. This is a very poorly structured movie, and it makes sense that I can see why it flopped so hard. The one scene that I it's fairly hard for me to say this, but the one thing I guess I really did like was when she was caught in the web, and she was like in this like world where it was like completely black, and there was like these like white lines, you know. I guess that was probably a cool scene, I guess, which I really liked. So like she saw a lot of like the future and the past stuff, so that was kind of cool. But it's very hard to me to say that was like good, because literally everything was trash box at this point. And I feel like there was like this weird Ben Parker, there was like this weird Peter Parker side plot, which really didn't make sense to me, because like, so there was this character called Ben Parker, which is the father of Peter Parker, and they never really talk about that as much. Which is funny, because that would actually seem like an interesting plot line in this whole movie entirely, with the whole Ben Parker plot. He never gets referenced he only gets referenced in the beginning of the movie. He does not get referenced like in the rest of the movie. Like the only times he gets referenced in the movie is when he's trying to save the teenage girls from trouble from the villain or whatever. Which funny enough, the villain's actually not even threatening whatsoever. The only thing that you can even consider him by is that he crawls through walls and like punches people. That's literally it. It's not like Spider-Man where he can like spew webs, or like Tom Holland Spider-Man where he can spawn electrical webs out of his like body or something like that. It's nothing like anything threatening whatsoever. It's like he can climb through walls. Oh, okay, that's basically it. It's just crazy, you know. It's funny enough that this movie was also directed by the same director of Morbius, so you know it's kind of like they were already trying to nail in the coffin for the Marvel franchise for this, or in the association with Marvel, because this isn't based on the main Marvel franchise where it's with Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, etc. Oh man, there was a lot of stuff that I really didn't like about this movie, man. It was just all over the place, and like it was a movie that it was a very very interesting movie to even watch. It's really disappointing that the Marvel could be turned to a direction like this, that now we have to think differently about our movies, and it was kind of expected because the director. I forget what his name is, but like the director that put it out this movie thought that there was no confirmation checks whatsoever within this. There was like it was literally probably, I want to say, like a day's worth of filming. It literally felt like that. It was like a day's worth of filming, and it was like, all right, we're gonna put this in the drawing board because that looks valid. But yeah, that was my rant, tangent, whatever this was, of Madam Web. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed that because I kind of wanted to replicate Moist Critical a little bit because I like the way how he does like commentary videos on stuff that he hates and stuff that he likes. So I thought this would be a very good way of formatting this. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Reese's Pieces.